I really love nature, and when I began making art early on in my life, I noticed that I had this whole theme of working around these ideas that I was painting the things that I grew up with, the painting the sort of imagery that defined my childhood and somewhat my adulthood, but I really just connected with the things I found beautiful in the world and found sort of a redemptive quality when I would paint them and kind of, represent them. Now, I've been painting my full adult career. So I graduated college in 2007.
What's a day-to-day like for us that we may not know?
Oh, that you may not know? I get in and work every day, but I don't paint every day. I think, there are those memes where it's like, have you seen was like, here's what people think I do, here's what I actually, so I think people think I'm just constantly at my, easel, or I'm constantly painting, but there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into getting a surface ready to paint on, getting all the materials I need. But I also love to delve into a podcast or music and kind of create things that way. And I don't know, it's different for everybody. But I probably spend about 3 hours a day actually painting, and then there's a lot of other things I have to do, to make the work. My style has definitely changed over time as you kind of look at my work for the past 20 years. And it's hard to see it happening in the moment, but I think there was a huge change in my work when I incorporated metal leaf. After college, I did an internship with someone who did frame restoration and like the finishing. So I learned this process of using metal leaf, and it started out small in my work, and now it's much more of a prominent feature. And you learn little tricks along the way that make working more economic. For example, I work on multiple pieces at a time instead of a single piece, because when in oil, you're waiting enormous amounts of time for things to dry, and to capitalize on that time, you can switch to something else. So I usually have about 15 or so pieces that I'm working on at one time at different phases, different stages along the way.
Do you have everything visually what you want to do in your mind? Do you have it written down to keep up with all those?
Yeah, I sketch most every painting I do of the wildlife series. The things I don't sketch are my more pattern-based paintings. They're a little bit more intuitive, and I just start with an idea and go forward. Commissions are a huge part of what I do, and it means a lot that someone will trust me with a vision of an idea that they have to go forward with it. But there is definitely a communication and a trust factor. Like, I've had people come to me and says, hey, can you do a commission? I want you to paint me on a motorcycle jumping the Grand Canyon holding my dog. And I'm like, look, that's not in the anthology of anything I've done. I can't do that. So usually it's there's a trust built with somebody who's been following my work, knows kind of what I make, and we can kind of talk about something. But it's pretty exciting to see that kind of come forth. I love helping young artists. I love helping people do what I do. I think that there's these preconceptions about what being an artist is, that you're going to be poor, that you're going to struggle, that you're not going to have any support. And a lot of times parents who are sending their kids off to college are disappointed or discouraged, or even try to discourage their children from majoring in the art as a career. But there are so many of us who are thriving at this work, and there's so many examples here in Greenville of artists who are doing what we do, and we need artists. We need more people to do this job. Art makes our community better, and it's something that is redemptive in and of itself. There's a lot of value to communities that have full-time artists in them. It's actually one of the measures of a healthy community is how many full-time artists are working there. My kids over the years have definitely come in the studio and painted their own paintings, and it's also our it's our family job. Like, it's something that the kids know, like, this is how we get food and shelter. And so they'll help from time to time to do a show or those things. So yeah, it's fun to see them kind of engage here. Oh wow. Well, I think making art is good for the community. I always say that art is redemptive, and if you think that you're taking, smearing a bunch of colors on a canvas and hanging up someone's house, that how can that be redemptive? But the space that person lives in is very important to them, and in a lot of ways, it brings families together. It's an expression of who they are, and it makes people feel comfortable, and I think it makes all our interactions better in the home to have real art around it. You're supporting, people who buy art are supporting families. They're supporting creative endeavors, and so I think there's so many wonderful things about that. I'm very committed to building the studio. I've never done anything in my career that I've worked so hard towards. This has been over 3 years that I've been working on building a studio, and to have it burn down obviously was a shock. But I also think that I've learned a tremendous amount from that experience, and sort of what really matters to me in my career, what really matters in my family. I'm looking to, I'm excited to see the space finished and to be an integrated part of the street, of Pendleton Street, and to have my work there, to have a space there. It's going to be a dream come true for me. I've been working on Pendleton Street since 2001. So to have my own space is definitely a huge aspiration. It's a huge, goal that I've been working towards. Artist Fair is my absolute favorite show of the year. I look forward to it. It's Mother's Day weekend, and so I get to see so many of my friends that come out. Everybody's like so supportive, and I'm also bringing some of my best work to that show. It's sort of one of the first shows I do in the spring, and so I've been working all winter long on new ideas and things, and so it's kind of a great place to debut a lot of new work that I've been doing. I like to do like less than 8 shows a year, whether they're festivals or gallery shows, and so I kind of do a mix of both. And there's a tremendous amount of preparation that goes into getting ready for an art show. You're working not just weeks but months on building up an inventory that can kind of you can show, and then in between shows, you're replacing the things that have sold, and so there's a tremendous amount of work and dedication. It's not for everyone, and but I'm very thankful to live in Greenville. There's so much support here for local artists, and there's such a strong community amongst the artists, and with each other we're very supportive, and so that means the world to me. Oh wow. I I think that one of the things I've been thinking about lately is how I really want to encourage creatives um, to do their jobs without fear and without thinking that they can't support themselves. There's so many paths to doing that, and there's so many resources out there. But still, I hear so many stories of people saying, look, I really wish I would have been able to do your job. I have an art degree and I was just scared, or, I had always wanted to study this, but, my family wasn't supportive. And it's just not too late. I think I want to focus on helping community and helping people realize that they can do this. It's attainable. It is a worthwhile job. You're working with your hands. It's hard work, and I think that all hard work is valuable.